Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amala Rolita Presents. I am Amala Rolita here to present the fourth installment of my series, Who is Woman? So, in the previous three videos, I covered God's initial plan for the woman, her part in the fall of mankind, and the curse that changed her history. So if you have not seen those videos, you are more than welcome to go back and review them because we're moving on. And in this installment, I am discussing the domino effect of Eve's curse. So now God's words are life, and they are without fail. They're never wrong, and they're always effective. They are always producing what he speaks and what he sends them out to produce. They are always fruitful in producing. Okay? So the effects of the curse, they have been producing. They are far reaching, and they span across generations. So this curse has been going on since the beginning. Females inherited the curse that was passed down from the mother of humankind, which we have come to learn. And in English, her name is Eve. Okay? Now, just like when parents conceive a child, they pass on traits to that child from both parents without the consent of the child. So think about that. So we are born and we don't have a say on what color our skin, our eyes, or our hair would be. And we don't even have a choice on which mannerisms we inherit from our parents. We just inherit them. So that is how this curse has gone on and perpetuated for generations. Okay. Now, the areas that I want to address, which the Lord has given me, I prayed about, okay, God, what do you want me to address? There have been three areas which I think are also most notably we see the effects of the curse. There are others, and I do address those in the book that I've written and mentioned in other videos, which is Genesis 3:16, Reversing the Woman's Curse. For this video, we're just going to address three areas: the divide of man and his wife, children, our greatest or the greatest casualties, okay? And also female rivalry. Now I'm want to talk about the divide of man and his wife real quick. So I need to start with the divide of the man and his wife because that was the first union that was established by God. It was the only relationship, a man and his wife, that was recorded. What God considered that union as one. They were one, not these two, but they were one. Okay, besides his relationship with Christ, which we learn about in the New Testament. But we're dealing with the beginning, okay, and establishing who is the woman. God said that they were one, the man and his wife. After they had children, he didn't say the man and the children, or the mother to the man and children. He said the wife, the man and the wife, they were one. Now, after Christ, and we become one with God through Christ, our acceptance of Christ's atonement for our sins, we become one in the spirit because of what his act and what he did. But we're addressing the divide between the woman because they were one initially. But when they sinned, and God said to the woman that you would desire your husband and he will rule over you, there became a divide between the man and the woman. Not only that, first of all, they were divided because the Spirit of God departed from them. They were left with a sinful nature. So God created as one the man and his wife at the time, and they were to operate on the same accord. She was created as a suitable companion, ready, fit, and able to meet him and assist him on the same level and by the same standards. She was not lacking in anything, and she was not subpar. It was not made of inferior material. We've discussed this, okay? The man and his wife, they were in harmony. They were to be in sync with one another, carrying out God's will on this earth. Now, after their sins and the subsequent curse, the man became the wife's ruler. Now, that was ordained by God. That's what he spoke. Unfortunately, we read that almost immediately now Adam is accused Eve for his part in the sin. Now, that's recorded in Genesis 3, verse 12. He did not take responsibility for his part. And history shows us how the man transitioned from revering his wife as his suitable companion to God now needing to tell man to, hey, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it, which is recorded in Ephesians 5, verse 25. So a man ruling over his wife without God's spirit can easily become an oppressor. And why? Because he would now struggle to have and maintain the loving, patient, faithful, and forgiving spirit that was from God. See, God is love, and everything else fails in comparison without his spirit of love in us and guiding us, okay? The next area that I want to address is the children as the greatest casualty to the divide of the man and his wife, which is an effect also of the curse. So when there is a divide of the man and his wife, our greatest casualties are the children in the family. They are the next generation, okay? And remember, God wanted godly offspring. He still wants godly offspring. Everyone may experience some type of sorrow, pain, or harm, especially when there's a divide in the family. But the children are especially vulnerable when a father is absent or neglects his position and responsibilities, because there is a breach in duty in the family. And again, yes, this also applies that if the mom is absent or does not fulfill her responsibilities. Remember, this is the series for who is woman. In the man's absence, it can become difficult for the woman to guard all directions, all areas for the family, for her to do it alone. It can, in some cases, it can become very overwhelming. And this absence of the man is what I'm saying, also applies to the man. He doesn't always have to be absent, like out of the house, not living with the family. This also applies to the man who is living in the home, but has mentally and spiritually tapped out. He is just there. He's basically a body there, but he is tapped out in all those areas. So the woman feels at risk, and the woman feels unprotected. And the children are sensitive to the temptations and the influences that bombard them daily. Now, in 1 Peter 5, the verse 8, it tells us to stay sober, stay vigilant, or stay watchful, stay alert, because your enemy, the adversary, he stalks around, or he walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Now, children left without the full covering of both parents are being vigorously attacked by Satan with daily temptations, with what we call fiery darts. So Satan's fiery darts are his arsenal, and they stream daily as temptations against the children. These are temptations, these are influences, they're philosophies, and they're traditions of mankind in this world. We see breaches in the family unit. We see that today. And the children are more vulnerable to these attacks by the enemy because the woman not being able, not having someone to have her back and not being able to effectively guard all areas or directions, the enemy was look for the hole in which to get in and which to attack now the next generation. He is trying to prevent the children, this next generation, from walking in their godly purpose and fulfilling the purpose that God has for him. Satan's agenda is to take out generations, if possible. Remember, he had already fooled, he had already deceived both Eve and Adam from walking in the authority and the rulership that God had given them, ordained for them to have. So he is trying to do the same thing with the next generation. Now, the other area that God has given me to discuss is the female rivalry. See, God told the woman, your desire shall be for your husband, but he will rule over you. Remember that? Okay, so desire is a very strong wanting or longing in which a person earnestly seeks fulfillment. So the woman's desire to be acknowledged, loved, provided for, and protected by her husband, first of all, is genuine. Second of all, is valid. Okay? However, when that desire is unfulfilled and it's unrepressed, and then it's left under the sway of the enemy, because remember, in the New Testament, it says the whole world is left under the sway of the enemy because he was kicked out of heaven. He was kicked out when he tried to rise up against God in his heart. God saw it in his heart before he even spoke it. And God, like Jesus said, like lightning, I saw Satan fall from heaven. So he's been left to influence and entice, the earth. But that's part of why God gave us authority and rulership over all creatures, as well as the animals, the birds, and the creeping and crawling things. Okay, so when a woman's strong desires are left under the sway of the enemy, that causes something more. It has caused something more throughout the generations to develop. One good reading. Is in you would see that really good when you read about Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. That was the first, almost like a soap opera. That was one of the first examples we see with the female rivalry in that history of that story. Lord have mercy, okay? It's one of the most fiercest competition known to man. That is female rivalry, okay? And I did not perceive female rivalry as an effect of the curse and until God actually pointed that out to me one day. So the desire for a husband becomes so overwhelming to some that it compels them to seek fulfillment, to seek fulfillment of their desire to have a husband, to have a man, even at the expense of another female's relationship or marriage. And in case for women, marriage. But young girls are not exempt. We see young girls arguing and fighting. I've seen videos of young women in high school age. They literally battle it out for the attention of a man, and that will battle another female who they perceive to be a threat to them, getting that attention and that desire fulfilled from that male. Couple that with jealousy, and it escalates into an all-out battle of female wiles. All females are fighting against an effect of the curse. An effect of the curse. Whether it can even be body image, desire for the love of again, a young man, a boy, a husband. Just so many different ways that the domino effects of this curse has been just perpetuating throughout history. Most females are not even aware that there is a curse and that they are fighting against the effects of a curse. Because a curse, it's force, it produces negative reactions, and it produces changes, negative changes. It can produce in families, in relationships. Satan instigates female rivalry. He plays on that, just like he did with Eve. He used Eve to entice her own husband. He used her influence, which we'll get into that later, the woman's influence. He used her influence to entice her husband to sin against God. Well, Satan instigates females to be a rival against one another. He tries to keep us from coming together because there is power in us coming together. There's power in numbers. Even God has said to Jeremiah to call for the praying women, call for the coming women, because he knew that they would get together and they would pray for the men, pray for their sons in power. And that's what Satan does not want us to do. So I'm excited about that because I'm going to address in my next installment the woman's restoration, which puts us in a powerful position when we come together. Okay? So until next time, may you prosper as you fulfill the purpose of God for your life. Thank you for visiting Amala Relita Presents. I am Amala Relita. Have a great day.